Hey guys, we're live. We're live. This is Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today my special guest is Joe with Family Flips. How you doing today, Joe?
Doing good, man. It's a beautiful day here in Arkansas. It's giving a nice, chilly, cool breeze all day today. Election results are in the air, so it is nice. And I hate this light back here. I'm so sorry about the big bright light
That's all right.
my right shoulder. I have no idea why it's doing that, but it is what it is.
Well, it'll be all right, Joe. It'll be okay. So, tell me, how have you been doing? First of all, why don't you introduce yourself to our guest in case people don't know who you are? Do you want to tell people who you are and where they might have seen you at? I think you were on that TV show Extreme Unboxing, weren't you?
Yeah. We, my wife and I, Jessica, we are full-time resellers. I've been reselling full-time for probably, 7 years. Part-time reselling for probably 10 years. And we started YouTube probably, I guess, in June or July of 2018. So we're a little over 2 years on it. We are on A&E's Extreme Unboxing, just a TV show that kind of follows the world of buying, liquidation, and unboxing it to kind of see what you get. It's kind of like, you ever seen those YouTube videos of kids watching other kids play with toys? That's what we do. It's kind of what the show is about. We do, 5, 6, 7 videos a week here on YouTube. 2 to 3 unboxings a week. Kind of entertainment is what our goal is. And then a couple of videos a week kind of documenting our lives as homeschooling resellers. So that's kind of what we do. Two full-time jobs, reselling and YouTube.
Awesome. So I have so many questions for you, Joe. I mean, I don't know. I'm a subscriber of your channel. I have been for a while. First thing I want to ask you is, how did you get into reselling? And when you first got started into reselling, were you still working a full-time job and doing reselling on the side? You want to explain or elaborate how that came to be?
Yeah, I started reselling. How old am I now? 40. Probably 9 years ago. Unofficially, I was the kid that would drive his bike, 2 miles across town to buy airheads for 10 cents and then take them to school and sell them for a quarter. I was going to the baseball card shops, hustling, buying packs of cards, breaking them out, selling cards, buying more cards. Probably when I was 10, 11, 12 years old, somewhere right in there. I had the lemonade stand, so I was always a reseller, entrepreneur. And then I guess I originally got started reselling. I was married before. I was married to Jessica, and I worked in restaurants for a long time. Started when I was 14 years old. And I guess probably when I was 30, maybe 31, my ex-wife wanted to go to audio engineering school, so I found a job in Nashville, Tennessee, so that she could pursue her dream of becoming an audio engineer. And so we went from 2 incomes down to 1, and we weren't used to that. So I just started selling stuff around the house, DVDs, calculators, anything really I can get a hold of, jeans. And then when I was sold all that, I just started going to Goodwills and thrift stores to buy stuff and to resell it. I kind of had settled on women's jeans for a while, and I don't know why women's jeans. I think it's because my ex-wife, she had some nicer jeans, and I sold them. I was like, oh, you can actually sell these for a lot of money. So I started buying women's jeans. They were easy to find then. It was, at least anyways, where I was in Nashville. I'd always look at the designs on the butts of the jeans. And I was in a Goodwill one day, and I kind of stumbled across an audio, over the intercom system. They were advertising shopgoodwill.com, and I was like, what is this? So I got on there, and I found that they had a depot in Nashville where you can buy online and then pick up. And that kind of opened my eyes to all kinds of buying and selling. And I was buying stuff, women's jeans. I didn't really enjoy it because you had to do so much measuring and pictures that it really took up a lot of time. It took up a lot of space in the house. And then I bought a box of cell phones one day online. And I was like, man, these are small. They're easy to list because they're all in eBay's catalog. So I just started buying and selling those. And it's about that time that I got promoted to general manager with Cracker Barrel, and I made enough money. I did not have to work 2 jobs anymore. So I quit reselling, still had a bunch of stuff at the house. Got tired of living in Nashville, moved back to Arkansas, went through a divorce, and I started selling the cell phones. And it kind of started a progression like that. I hated the corporate world. I hated I just hated. I wanted freedom. So I just started praying, and I was like, God, I'm tired of this. And it started like a progression where it was like, 1 week it was like, 6 months from now, you're not going to be working. And then like another couple of weeks, it was, you're not going to be working. And then it was one Friday afternoon, I was driving down the road, and I was just praying. And the guy was just like, do you trust me? And I was like, yeah. He's like, no, do you trust me? And I was like, yes. He asked me a third time, and at that point, like, this presence is very strong. I thought I was going to wreck my motorcycle. So I'm like, you have to let up a little bit, God. Like, this is too much of your presence right now. He's like, no, do you trust me? And I was like, yes. He's like, all right, well, on Monday, I want you to put your 2 weeks notice in. And remember that box of cell phones that you have in storage? I want you to start selling those and buy more and keep doing that until I tell you to stop. So kind of here we are 7 years later, still full-time selling. I haven't really buying a lot of phones anymore because COVID kind of wiped out that market. It made the prices really high. All the places that I bought from for a long time, they didn't get their supply. So we've kind of reshifted. We've been doing liquidation for probably 2 years now. It's actually 2 years this time right now that we were getting our first truckload of Amazon customer returns. And so here we are. I quit my job. I think the question was, was I working full time? I quit my job full time, started reselling right off the bat. But I was single. I had didn't have a lot of overhead, a lot of expenses. So I could do that. I don't advise doing that for a lot of people because that's a little bit risky. If I was married or had kids, I probably wouldn't have done the same thing. But it is what it is.
Okay, all right, Joe. I still got a bunch of questions. Are you there? Oh, you froze up for a second. Hey, first I want to say hi to people. If I miss some people in the chat because we're live, we got American Made here. We got the Kentucky Fan. We got a Bearded Veteran here. I had a few questions in the chat real quick. One of them says, "Is there a Goodwill bins near you?" And the other question is, they want to know what platforms you currently sell on.
There is a Goodwill bin here. I've never been. I don't like to thrift. I don't like to do that. My wife and I, Jessica, we hate shopping. So the idea of we've tried thrifting and going to garage sales, but we do not enjoy it whatsoever. I would rather buy it and sell the stuff and spend more time on the listing and selling process than on the sourcing end. So that's us. We don't really enjoy shopping very much. That's why we are a big fan of liquidation, because we can buy a lot of inventory at one time. It can come directly to our house. We never really have to leave, which, was very convenient during, when a lot of places were locked down, because our reselling business, it didn't stop. We're still able to continue doing what we were doing. And then platforms, we only sell on eBay. We cannot sell on Amazon, but even if we could, we would not sell on Amazon. I don't think Amazon's a very good company. They're not in it for the sellers. Especially if we were to sell on Amazon, it would be with strictly wholesale or private label only. So that is that.
Okay, Joe. Hang on. So Joe, yeah, I had some questions for you. I actually sold some jeans in the past. I used to sell as Levi blue jeans. The ones with the red tag on the back. I used to sell a lot of those, but then the problem is the thrift stores where I was getting the merchandise from, they got wise. They caught up to me, and they found, they started jacking up the prices. So the margins weren't there for me. I used to get a pair of blue jeans, let's say for $2 at the thrift store, and then sell them for $20, $25, $30 on eBay, but there's just not enough margins there because they kept raising the prices up. And I just can't pay $5 for a pair of blue jeans and try to sell them for 20, there's just not enough margin there for me, you know? So,
right.
So we had a question in the chat. He says, Joe, do you have replenishable items? So when you guys order a big lot of merchandise, or is each like wholesale lot different, or do you order from the same company and you get the same type of merchandise over and over again? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, I think, you know, when we used to sell probably, I don't know, $15,000 to $20,000 a month in cell phones. And those were considered replenishables because it was this, I would go after the same model and I would order, anytime I found certain specific models, I would order those. But the prices are too high now, so I can't do that. So now we strictly source through liquidation. And our business model has changed a lot because, one, we have the same product, but we buy it and we resell it. We buy it and we unbox it. So for us, we make money when we unbox the item, and then we make money when we sell the item. So traditionally, recently, the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, probably 4 months, that an unboxing video, we can make an unboxing video, and probably in a month or two, the money that we make from YouTube pays for the lot. So it cuts our costs down tremendously. And so now we can just buy knowing that the unboxing video is going to pay for the stuff within a couple of months. So it's paid for. So then our focus becomes how fast can we sell the items? So there's a couple of suppliers that we use. We buy a lot on 888 lots. That the margins are small. Like if your predominant sourcing model is garage sales or thrifting estate sales, you're not going to like the margin. And that's okay. But for us, we put our money to work where we could spend $1,000 and we know within a month, we're probably going to make $1,000 profit off that stuff because of the systems that we have in place. We have a full-time employee that lists around 150 to 250 items per week. And then we have a virtual assistant that manages a lot of our listing process. So they do all of the price checks for us. They do the listing building, SEO optimization, all those things that they take care of that, so that we are able to do more things of what we enjoy. Because we want to own our business. We don't want our business to own us. So we took less money for a long time hiring employees and having a staff on hand because we were building something that could sustain itself long-term without us. Like our reselling business now, the way we have it set up is I can maybe work 20 minutes a day in our reselling business, and that would be fine. I wouldn't have to do any more than that, and that would provide a full-time income for our family. So I rabbit trailed a little bit here. I think I answered your question.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to say hi to people in the chat. We got Cali Reseller Lewis in the house. Thanks for stopping by. We got a Kentucky fan. We got Killa X. He says, Jeff, you should make videos going to garage sales. Maybe I will at one time. Right now, it's just not feasible. I just got a lot of stuff going on. We got a question from Bearded Veteran. He said, is it worth having them employees regardless of sales? You didn't start off hiring employees. You said you've been reselling for up to 10 years now, right?
Yeah, full-time for around 7. I've had employees for the vast majority of my reselling career as a profession, that I've almost always had somebody listing for me. I don't like to list. It's not something I enjoy. So even when I was just a small operation, I would pay a man and his wife like $2 a listing, and they would probably list 100 to 200 cell phones a week for me so that I can do other things that I wanted to do. There was a period of time for probably maybe a year when Jessica and we got married, that she started working in the business also, that I did not have an employee. But, within, a year, we had already hired another lister. And then at one point in time, we had 3 people listing for us. But I don't know, we were doing like $30,000 to $40,000 a month in revenue at that point in time, and we were working a lot more than what we wanted to. So I would say have an employee. It's always worth it to me, because as long as you set it up right and you're paying fairly, you're not overpaying, that the employee will pay for itself, as long as you are spending that time also in the business, building it in ways that you enjoy. So if it's you don't like listing, well, then you have somebody list for you. And then if you need to list some, then you do it to help pay for the cost of the lister, but you're still growing and you're building your business that way.
Right. So, so Joe, how many items do you currently have listed right now on eBay, and how has your sales been this year?
We have maybe 1,000 items now. You know, for us is we took several months off because of COVID. That you know, we up until COVID, so you think through April, that we were probably doing 90% of our revenue was coming from cell phones. At that point in time, we were buying around a pallet a week of liquidation items, and kind of we would sell it on Facebook Marketplace. Something fun that we could do. We could, you know, sell that stuff in a flea market. But because of COVID, that we kind of took, I don't know, 2 or 3 months off, because we didn't know exactly how COVID was going to affect the market. We knew that as far as the cell phone industry goes, is that our suppliers at that point in time, a lot of them were forced to close down. So we went into just, you know, let's just ride this out and see how it goes for several months. And then when we started getting back into the swing of things, we realized that cell phones, the market still hasn't recovered, that prices are still probably 40 to 50% higher than what they were before. So we started buying more liquidation pallets to sell locally, because locally we never really experienced a shutdown or a lockdown here. That in our community, it wasn't really affected economically very much by COVID. So I don't know, it's probably through July. It was around probably July, August that we realized that cell phones is not going to recover. So that's when we started shifting our business towards doing mostly liquidation. So we've been on this journey the last couple of months, even going away from pallet items, because we only have so much space. We don't want a warehouse. We don't want a storefront. We don't want a lot of overhead costs, because really we don't know economically how things are going to unfold. And we weren't trying to, at that point in time, commit to anything long term. So that's when we kind of changed up our sourcing strategy to start buying a lot of smaller items. When we started ordering a lot from 888 Lots, we started doing a lot of electronics mystery boxes that we knew we could double or triple our money on, and have smaller items, set it up here, get Whitney trained, because she used to do kind of the cell phone business for us. So over the last couple of months, we've grown from, I think we had in September, we had around 100 items listed in our eBay store. And we have now close to 1,000 items, and we're adding probably 200 to 300 listings a week now to our inventory. We're selling probably, I don't know, 15 items a day on average. So, you know, it's a totally different, our model, what we're doing now, it's like we just created a brand new business, because we ultimately did, because we just changed strategies around completely over the last couple of months.
Okay, Joel, that's awesome. So I have a couple of personal questions I want to ask you. How long have you and your wife been married now? Where did you first meet your wife, and how is the whole balancing act going with doing YouTube, you know, spending time with your family, and doing your reselling business? Like, how has all that been going for you?
Yeah, so we've been married for 5 years in September. We met at church. I actually had probably 4 or 5 dreams about a purple-headed girl before I ever met her. And then we had met. We never really had talked. And then we just, I remember one Sunday night, I got invited to her house by Whitney, who's actually our employee. And I got invited to Whitney's house, and that's where Jessica was living at that time. No, Whitney hadn't lived there yet. And we met, and then I'm like, man, this is that girl I've been dreaming about. And so it was crazy. We were married less than 3 months later, been married, 5 years now. We have 3 kids. And so there's that. And then how has it affected all? Well, for us is we have always decided that we want a business, we want a successful business, but we're not willing to sacrifice moments with our kids to grow a business. That we believe that our legacy, the foundation of it, is through our kids. And so we have chose a lot over the years to stay small and to make less money so that the time that we have as a family is not greatly affected. Like a lot of people, they work long hours. They go to these jobs. They work 2 jobs. They have a full-time job and reselling, and they never really actually get to enjoy time with their family. And my family, like my parents, my dad growing up, he was in the military, and my mom worked. And a lot of times they had 2 jobs in order to provide a lifestyle that they thought that we wanted or that we needed to have. And I don't remember like all that stuff. I remember times where I didn't get to see my parents because they were working. And I know there's countless other people that are like that. Like they had stuff, but they don't have memories, the memories that they wanted. And, as people get older, I've talked to lots of older people and people who are been very successful in business. And the vast majority of those, the overwhelming majority of those, were always like, man, I wish that I guess I had successful business. I made lots of money, this and that. But I wish I wouldn't have worked so much, especially when my kids were younger. I wish I wouldn't have spent all those nights and weekends working instead of spending time with our kids. So we have had that mindset very early on that we wanted to homeschool because we wanted the opportunity to be able to spend time. We get to incorporate them with our lives as YouTubers, as business people, and still pursue having a business, but not at the sacrifice of our family.
Right. All right. And so you're able to, still make YouTube videos, still be able to do reselling and spend time with your family all at once. So how has it been kind of working with your wife? Not only is she your wife, but is homeschooling the kids, and she's like your business partner as well. Has that been running smoothly? Or, you get to spend time with your family, but how has that been working out for you?
I think it really, when you spend that much time with somebody in all those different facets, it forces you to communicate, and it forces you to become closer because of that communication, that you cannot really avoid issues. You can't really be passive or do all those things and get away with it, because if a husband and wife, they have 2 separate jobs and you have kids, you can go and you can work, your 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 or whatever, and be gone from your spouse, not deal with the issue. And then when you come home, you get a little time together, you little time with the kids, but it's never really individual time. And then the weekends, you're so busy doing other stuff that you really don't have the time. Like you can avoid confrontation as a result of that and not actually have a very productive or joyful relationship. But with all of these hats that we wear, that it's hard to of course we fight and we have arguments and we have disagreements, but we've learned to communicate and get through, because there's no avoiding one another. You can't really avoid issues and avoid conversations, because all of those hats that we wear, very early on, we had lots of business problems. Financially, we struggled for a while because we didn't know how to communicate. But it wasn't until we finally learned how to communicate and how to honor one another is when really our business took off and became very profitable. So it's good. Of course it's hard. You're always around each other. You're always around your kids. There's no adult, no human being, no parent wouldn't say that my kids don't get on my nerves, because you'd be lying. But there's so many experiences that I enjoy way more that I get to have because of the lifestyle that we've chosen that I would not have had had I pursued a different profession.
Right. I just meant that you guys have to be kind of joined at the hip. You got to kind of work together as a team. And you can't just be like, all right, I'm leaving to go to work for 8 hours and we'll talk about this when I get home from work. It's like you guys are there all day, every day. It's not like you can just be like, all right, see you later. I'm going to go to work. And it's like when you go to your garage or go to work, your wife is still there with you. You can't just like, be like, all right, I'm going to go have some alone time together. You got to make it work is what I meant. I didn't mean nothing bad by that.
I know you didn't, but I mean, you have to. I mean, of course, like we have a separate office that Jessica is able to go to a couple of days and work. That has really helped with the social media side of business with YouTube. So she does that, and then here we've got a separate place that we all have we have a schedule, we have routines that we're getting into with certain times that we work and where we work and do all that kind of flows together. But it's all made possible because of Whitney. I know Bitter Veteran said, you're really cheap. It seems like it does make your profits go down, but it should actually grow the profits because you're able to do more of what you're already doing to make the business more profitable. Plus, it's just reselling is hard, especially one-man operations. Reselling can be very, very tough because there's really no vacations. If you take a vacation, then you got to shut down your store. There's really no taking a couple of days, taking a weekend, taking a night off. There's always the phone notifications, emails, all those stuff. So we made a lot less money over the years. But it definitely has grown our profits way more than it ever took away from.
Awesome. So, Joe, tell me about your vacation that you and your wife took recently. Where did you guys go on vacation, and how did that go?
We went to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and it was fun. It was nice. As my 4-year-old, man, she's 4 now, Lucy, she said it was a lazy vacation. Because it was a vacation that we didn't really have to leave the hotel very much. I think we left like maybe 2 or 3 days. It was like a resort. Like we had like a big 3-bedroom suite. We went with Jessica's parents and brother, and we went to the beach, played in the pool. The weather was still warm. The ocean was still warm enough to swim in, and it was nice. It was we enjoyed getting away. And to have that time, and it was good. It's like we don't really we love what we do, so we really missed making as many videos and filming unboxings and doing that. So we were glad to go, but we were also glad to get back to normalcy. Right.
So I got some questions for you. Tell me about what made you to start making YouTube videos, and how has your YouTube journey been? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we originally started YouTube in June 2018. We started as a phone farming channel. We stumbled across this way to make extra money where you use your phone. There's different applications, especially back then. There's not really now, where you get phones set up that would play applications. They'd play videos, and in those videos there would be an ad that would play, and you would get money for those. So we started doing that as a way to make extra money, and we were making, I don't know, probably $400 or $500 a month. And one of our friends, they also had a YouTube channel and kind of encouraged us to start, because everybody has a story. We wanted to be able to help people make a couple of extra $100 a month. Like we were already doing reselling at that point in time, and we just wanted to show people how to make a couple extra $100 a month. There is, that phone farming niche. There was several different other content creators that were there that were already in that market, that we felt like we could do things a little bit better and more entertaining and educational than they could. So we started that. And I don't know, we probably had maybe 600 or 700 subscribers that we grew to in probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 months. And that phone farming, it some things changed with it, and we stopped doing that. As a way, there's a lot of people in our audience that watched us that knew that we resold, and they were interested in learning more about reselling. So we started reselling videos. Then kind of started doing some stuff, and we just kind of transitioned the whole channel. Made some videos. I guess it's about this time 2 years ago we made our first unboxing video. We didn't know that unboxing videos were a thing, that we had no idea. We just went live one day and just started streaming live videos, doing some different stuff. And it would go like, we would make videos, you know, we do good for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then we just couldn't keep up with it. And then we would take a break for a couple of months, and then, you know, we would do well. And then it was just this cycle of making videos here and there. And I guess that carried us into probably, I don't know, I think we grew to like 1,000 subscribers within our first year. And then I guess it was probably in August of last year, we grew to 2,000 subscribers. And then the springtime came, we started making more videos. Jessica, she pretty much did all the editing at that point in time. And but COVID hit, and I learned how to edit videos, and I started doing a lot of vlogs. I think we're on episode 80, maybe 81, somewhere around there. And our vlogs, we started doing more unboxing videos. Before, we didn't really record the unboxing videos. We were just buying liquidation and selling. But then we started doing, I think, our first unboxing video in May. So we started doing unboxing videos, one a week. We started doing more vlogs. And our goal at that point of time was to do a video every other day. And then we grew to 3,000 subscribers. And I guess it was probably in June. We hit 4,000 subscribers the end of June. And then July hit, and we had a video take off. It's got probably close to 600,000 views now. One of our unboxing videos, I think it was the third one that we had made. It's a sucky video. Like the camera's shaky. It was long. It wasn't very good. The filming wasn't very good. But for some reason, YouTube pushed that video, and now we should be hitting, 30,000 subscribers in the next, day or so, probably tomorrow. Maybe hit it tonight. I don't know. So it went from growing, we were making, a couple $100 a month on YouTube to now it's a full-time income for us. In just 3 or 4, 4 months now, it's been a full-time income now from YouTube. And so now we're just, doing more unboxing videos and, doing some vlogs, becoming better at the artwork. And we don't really, we are what we call an entertainment channel, that we go for entertainment and not really education. That there are some educational moments in our videos, but we really go after entertainment, because one is that the reselling market in YouTube is really saturated. That even if you look at the top resellers in the niche, that overall they're very small compared to YouTube. That I think the highest one you've got What the Hells, but they're not really resellers. It's entertainment based, with mainly storage units and the little gold towers that they do now. So it's not really a reselling channel. And then you have others. You have like Rake and Profits, who's got like 160,000 subscribers. You've got Rockstar Flipper's got over 100,000. You've got the couple from Chicago, I forget their Ryan and Allie, Rally Roots.
They live here in Tampa. Yeah, I was going to say, I know I've had What the Hells on the show about a month ago. We've had Rockstar Flipper and Rally Roots. We've had most of those guys on the channel. But I was going to ask you, do you have any suggestions if someone was interested in starting a YouTube channel? Could you give us 2 or 3 suggestions or recommendations? Because you're about to hit 30,000 subscribers, and there's a lot of YouTubers that, 30,000 subscribers, it's not something that happens overnight, right? I mean, you got to work at it and work at it and work at it and work at it before you break through, right?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that really helped us out. And there's a lot of resellers that are watching. I think a lot of them do YouTube. What's up, Todd? Todd, the Flippin' Hustler's on. Hey, I'm gonna have to order a shirt from you because you sent me that rap that one day. Is that about, when you don't want to, that's when you need to. That's a staple in our household. We sing that all of the time. My kids would like do something, and I'm like, no, that's when you don't want to. That's when you need to. So I'm gonna have to get a shirt from you, Todd. But there's a couple things that really helped us. One, I stopped making videos towards resellers. To be honest, I stopped making educational how to what sold videos on YouTube. I stopped that. I started making videos, or I say we, it was Jessica and I that did it, but I'm here, so I'm speaking for we. Is we started doing videos every other day because of the way it hits the YouTube algorithm. That with YouTube, you either need to do every other day, or you need to do every day because of the way it hits either the recommended or the suggested. It hits it differently. We worked on video quality with editing. We learned how to edit because if we were going to get resellers to watch our channel, that it had to be better overall value as far as production quality than other reselling. So we did those things, and it was really just us telling our story of our lives and just documenting, because there's not a lot of people in the reselling area that do lifestyle type videos. It's mainly, what's selling, tips and tricks, strategy, those things. And you can be successful and do that, but it's really hard to really break through and have substantial growth. You've got some, you've got Matt, I forget his YouTube channel.
Part-time Pickers, Matt, yeah.
He's had great growth. You look at Harry Tornado, he's had great growth, and both very uniquely different. Harry does a lot. He has studied a lot on YouTube, has done a lot of good things with production, with editing, and learned a lot of those skills with, thumbnails and video titles and keywords, all those things. Matt, he's just very engaging. He's got a great personality. He's very engaging, and he's got a lot of knowledge and has done so. And I guess another thing, I stopped sharing videos in Facebook groups because I realized that it was hurting our the engagement, that people would click on it, but they wouldn't watch very often because they're reselling. And there's just so many resellers out there. It's very difficult for resellers to watch the amount of other sellers out there that are making videos. It's just very hard. And if you do, then you're probably not going to make a lot of money because you're watching YouTube all the time. So those are just a couple of things that we've done. Of course, now, strategy wise, we're really working on, making sure that we've cut out a lot of the annoying nuances, the repeating of words, the and the things, just working on, better camera equipment. And you don't really need all that camera stuff. It's good to have, but it's just something that adds to it over time.
Right. Joe, let me catch some people in the chat. We had Paul here. I don't want the chat thing. I've ignored him. We got a bearded veteran here in the house. We got the Flippin' Hustler, and we got Joey Bada Bing. I was just hanging out with his live yesterday. Thank you guys for coming by. And we got Fundamentals of Side Hustling. So we're live with Family Flip. So if you guys have questions, drop it in the chat. I got a question for you. I wanted to know how this whole ordeal went. How did you guys get to be on the Extreme Unboxing Show on A&E? Did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them? Did you say, yeah, it's cool, I want camera crews following me around everywhere I go? How did that thing go? How did the whole ordeal go? And did you like it? Would you do it again? Tell us a story about how that happened.
Yeah, so we had just started making YouTube unboxing videos, and anybody watches our channel, you go back and watch the first 8 or 9 that we did. They sucked, but A&E found them. Actually, the critical content, the production company that A&E worked with on this project, they found one of our unboxing videos. They sent me an email one morning. Actually, they tried to send an email. The email I had on YouTube, I don't know what happened. I typed it in correctly. It was wrong. but they looked me up on Facebook and sent me a message. And it was on a Saturday. They asked if we'd be interested in talking to them about this potential show. So we got on. We talked to the lady. I don't remember her name. That Saturday afternoon, we talked for probably an hour. Had a great time. Didn't think anything of it. Thought, it'd be cool, but there's no way that this is going to happen. So then probably, I don't know, a month went by, and we got another email that one of the producers, the lead producers on the show, they wanted to talk. So we did another interview for probably, 45 minutes to an hour. And they liked what they saw. They were going to use some of the interview and other people's interviews and some footage from unboxings. They were going to make a pilot episode to pitch the network on, because A&E, they were interested. And there's been ideas of this show been floating around for a long time. I know there's many other YouTubers out there that have done liquidation that have talked about it and experienced it. So we did that. Then we didn't think anything of it. And then, I don't know, maybe another month or two went by. We had another interview, and that probably brought us up into like May or June of last year. And then it had got so far, they were interested in us. They sent us the contract. We're like, no, this contract's it's not going to work for us. Like, it's not good. So we worked with our attorney. We made some counter proposals of what we would do, what we would agree to, things we wouldn't. And so the whole idea behind it was, we knew that this TV show, that A&E had experience with, storage wars, which was fake. Like, it wasn't fake in the beginning, but then it went to fake. Other shows, fake. And we're like, all right, well, if we're on the show and contractually we're not going to agree to do anything that's fake, that we wouldn't have to do anything and, any of that stuff. And I'm like, so at least if we're on the show, then we know at least one group of people or one couple or whatever are going to give an honest depiction of the world of liquidation, because we know that with storage wars, that a lot of people, they went out and bought storage lockers. They had used all the money that they had, and they didn't do well because of this over glamorization of it. And we didn't want people to watch the show and to do that. Like, we didn't want that. And we knew at least if we're on the show, then it wouldn't be that way. So then they came back with the contract. We went back and forth, and we're just like, they weren't really budging on some stuff. And we're like, no, if you want us to be on the show, then you will agree to these terms, that we're not going to budge on these. Like, these are deal breakers for us. So it went back and forth. I guess it's probably July of last year, maybe August. They agreed to it. And why? Maybe it's because, other people decided not to do the show. I have no idea. There's lots of resellers, that interviewed for the show. They have said various things about it. I don't know. I can only tell you my experience, that it was very favorable contractually for us and financially. So what pretty much we agreed to do the show. They came, and we bought the pallets. They didn't put anything in the pallets, contrary to what people might say in various Facebook groups. They just filmed this unboxing. Like, it wasn't a coach thing. There's a couple things that they said, hey, can you say these things? And you could see, but it wasn't like during the unboxing. Like, the unboxing, it was pretty much just us being us. I mean, obviously, if like we said something, because I mess up my words a lot, if you've watched me, that I may not say something clearly, or maybe we were moving a box while we said something and the microphone got more of the box, because these microphones that they were using, like, we would have to stop recording when a plane was flying over because they were picking up so much audio. It was crazy. But it was fun.
What was the stuff scripted? Did they tell you certain things that you had to say, or were you just allowed to be you on the show? Did they pay you to be on the show, and did they reach out to you and say, hey, we want you to come back for another season? Like, how did that, can you elaborate on those issues?
Yeah, I mean, I just said it wasn't scripted. Like, during the unboxing parts, like, there's a couple parts that they say, hey, can you say, like, I don't know, at the beginning of the show, every show, like, there's that little thing that happened at the beginning of the show, that was scripted. Like I say, hey, say these things. But the rest of it, like where it says like I love, because I can sit around my house in my underwear, that was me. They didn't tell me to say that.
They didn't tell you. They didn't tell you to say that was you. That was all you, huh, Joe?
No, I mean, in any time, it's just I'm not the person. I don't like being told what to do. One, but there are parts of like they'd say this, like I'd say the line. It wasn't really a line because in the unboxing, like during the unboxing, like that's all us. Like that was
okay.
There was nothing scripted.
Did they reach out to you guys and ask you to come back on the show or no?
We don't know anything about season 2.
Okay, I was just curious.
It's still the programming department, and it would depend. We're making a lot more money financially. I mean, of course, they're not going to do it for free. Like they have to pay you something, and I mean because they would come, and when they would come, they would spend 2, 10, 11, 12-hour days. I think they came here 3 times over last fall. Like the last time they came here was around this time last year. But they'd be here for 2 days. They'd film, and it was fun, but it was very mentally exhausting, and it was very exhausting. So of course they pay you financially for the time of being away from your business. They do those things.
Okay, cool. We had Flip and Eric. We were talking about the A&E TV show Extreme Unboxing. Joe was on the show. That's what we were asking him about. Flip and Eric had a question. He said, "What are some of your favorite items of source or niche?" Can you? He must have been late to the show. Can you talk a little bit about that? I wanted to get back into reselling. Go ahead.
So I think my probably overall favorite is cell phones. Like my wife and I, we are not your our main sourcing strategy is we source 100% online. We don't thrift, we don't garage sell, we don't do any of those things. Estate sales, Goodwill bins, we don't do any of that. So for us, it's really strategic. It's more like an accountant will do when they buy. Is that we love cell phones, probably the number one item because they sell so quick. There'd be a lot of times that we would buy, cell phones and they would sell within 6 hours of being listed. So obviously that was the favorite. Probably the second favorite niche. I mean, it's still in electronics. Anything that plugs in, we're good with. It's battery operated. It's the number one selling category on eBay. I mean, clothing is number 2. But we don't really like to do clothes because it's a very saturated market. And then third is probably going to be automotive and sporting goods. That with 88 lots, we order a lot from them because we know exactly what we're getting. We can go after specific categories and we can buy, like today we did an unboxing for a drugstore, a lot like health and beauty products. So we have a lot of those. That's probably our fourth most favorite. But all of those items, they sell well. Items that sell very fast.
Cool.
I think our sell-through rate is probably around 60 to 70%, which is pretty good. A lot of people it's just like 33, 40%. But we sell a lot of items.
Right. So Joe, give me some information. If someone is interested, maybe they're a part-time reseller and they're thinking about going to full-time, give us your top 2 or 3 tips that would help somebody if they wanted to make more money in reselling, because you said you were doing about $20,000 a month in sales, right? Can you help somebody out if somebody's watching and they're like, "Hey, I've been following Joe's content. I saw him on this TV show. How can I get to my business where I can make 10, 20 grand a month reselling?" Can you give them 2 or 3 tips that would help them out? Go ahead.
This question is so hard just because reselling is not a cookie cutter type thing. There's so many different models and really depending, we always talk about time, space, and money. And you can even throw in geographic location with where you live and the proximity that you have towards, Goodwill outlets. There's all these Amazon bin stores that are popping up. So it really just depends on all those things. That if you're a part-time reseller, then obviously you only have so much time that you really need to create a sourcing. I guess the tip would be is to create a sourcing strategy that matches your income and time, because you may not have a lot of money. And if you don't have a lot of money, then obviously you're going to have to source at places with lower priced items like thrift stores, garage sales, estate sales that are going to give you the opportunity to buy more items. Say you have money, but you don't have a lot of time. Well, then you can strategically source more expensive items that you can have that come to you so that you can spend the time that you do have on listing instead of sourcing and make more money per item. So I'd say really evaluate your business, evaluate the time, space, and money. How much time can you spend? And sorry, there's a lot of, I was catching interference. How much time do you have? How much space do you have? Because if you don't want to have a lot of space, then you're not going to want to buy a lot of large items. You're going to want to buy a lot of smaller items. And depending on how much money you have, that's really going to affect what you do. And then geographically, I mean, if you're a new reseller and you don't know what to buy, like I would say go to like these Amazon bin stores. You can buy items for $3 and $4 and $5, some of them $6. You can get your phone, you can scan the items, see which ones are going to bring you the most money, and buy those. So, you know, I know it's not really the answer you're looking for, but it's my answer because there's just, I hate giving tips and stuff just because everybody's situation is totally different depending on time, space, and money.
Right. I know everybody's situation is different. It's just that, I mean, if you've been doing it for 10 years and someone's maybe doing it for a year or two, or maybe they're just getting started, you have a lot more knowledge and experience than someone who's brand new. Now, I got a question for you. When you're reselling cell phones, right? You test them, and you get some of the cell phones that are broken, or, you know, do they all work, or can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, when we were sourcing cell phones, we had really two different sources that we would use. One was kind of sight unseen, that we would buy them and they'd be in all different types of conditions. They'd have broken screens, some may have batteries, some may not, some may power on, some may not. So we had a systems that we would test all of those. We would reset them, factory hard reset, bypass the Google account lock. With Apple, you can't bypass those. So you could still sell all those phones. Actually, the cell phone market internationally is huge, especially in the Dominican Republic and then in the Middle East and countries like Yemen and Jordan, that the cell phone market's huge. And even over in China, if you're selling higher end new phones like Apple's iPhones 8s and above, Galaxy's S9s and above, that it's a huge market over there in China. So you could test them. There's websites that you can go to, like Verizon, to check the IMEI number to make sure that it can be activated, or if it's been reported lost or stolen, or if it's under financial obligations. But you can still sell all of those for parts are not working. And people buy them because there's a lot of phones that they no longer manufacture parts for. So a lot of people, they would buy those for parts. They would buy them in like Dominican Republic or in Yemen, and they'd buy them to repair, to fix, to refurbish, to do all of those things.
Yeah, I went to a pawn shop recently, and I bought a cell phone for like $5, and it came with a charger. But I got home and found out the phone was blacklisted, so you couldn't activate it. They could only use it for parts. So so when you go buy these cell phones, you get like a whole pallet or a whole skid or a whole box of them. And how does that work when you go to resell them? Like, you know, are there some of the ones that are working? You sell them all for non-working in parts, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, we would test it and we would sell it based off of the condition that we graded it. So if it was a non-working phone, meaning that maybe it powered on, but the IMEI number was bad, it was blacklisted, we'd sell that for parts are not working. If the phone was reported stolen, we would not sell that item. Because knowingly selling stolen property is kind of not kosher. So we wouldn't do that. But whatever condition it was in, like we have a grading scale that we would use: fair condition, good condition, great condition, mint condition, new condition. We would just grade it. We'd sell it accordingly to that. If it was working, no issues, we'd sell it in working, used condition. We would grade it according to our cosmetic grading scale. But we would buy them. There's very rarely will we buy them by the pallet. I mean, you can, but you've got to have the right source for it. And then they're expensive when they're palletized like that. I mean,
All
you
right.
can place one order that's like $50,000 for
Wow.
stuff.
That's a
And I
lot.
mean, yeah, but you make money. I mean, it's cell phones uh, in reselling it all. It's I would say a tip is don't get hung up on the margins. Look for the sell through rate. That just because you may make a 5,000% or whatever profit that you bought an item for $2 and you can sell it for $50, it may take you 6 months. I'd rather buy an item for $10, sell it for $25, and sell that 10 times over before and make way more money. Because
Right.
in reselling, cash flow is king. That if you have a bunch of inventory sitting on the shelves, and a lot of people, I even see it in Facebook groups, it's like a badge of honor. Like they've got like 1,000 items listed, 2,000 items listed, 3,000 items listed, or I've got 5,000 items listed. I'm interested in how many items are you actually selling. And then a lot of people are like, I've got 5,000 items, but I'm only selling like 2 or 3 items a day. And I'm like, man, that's crazy, because I can have 500 items listed, but I'm selling 15 to 20 items per day.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd say is it's the margins are nice, but look at how much profit is actually going to be brought to your bottom line over a period of time, and not just a one deal thing.
Yeah, that's the thing is you only have so much space. I mean, I sold a couple
Yeah,
of VHS tapes today, and I was just glad to get rid of them. I was like, yes, they sold because now I've got this extra space in my shed that it's not taking up space. So we had a Prison to Profit. He said, glad you got Joe on tonight. Thanks for coming by. We had Flippin' Eric here. We had Fundamentals of Side Hustling. We had Joey Bada Bing, and we had the Flippin' Hustler. So, hey, we're almost up to the hour mark. I got a couple more questions for you, then we'll let you go, Joe. Give me some
yeah.
info. If I'm interested in buying pallets of merchandise, what do I need to look for in order to make a decent profit on these pallets? Because I know you have a manifest. Like, do you look at the profit margins? Do you look at the sell-through rate? Or do you just, like, roll the dice sometimes? Do you try to get used merchandise? Or do you try to get, like, customer returns? Or you try to get stuff that's brand new?
It all goes back to time, space, and money. That if you don't have a lot of money and you want to buy a pallet, then obviously you're probably going to be buying customer returns, because it's a higher risk. There's a higher potential with it because the stuff may not actually be used. So you may be able to spend less but make more money, but also you're going to spend more time having to test items versus buying a pallet that has brand new merchandise if it's a shelf pull or something like that. I mean, pallets, it's a totally different game. Like, it's one of those things where you got to learn by doing it. Just like with thrifting and garage selling, it's you learn by doing it. That you have some pallets that are manifested, and then you have a lot that are not. I like the unmanifested ones, just because it's like it's you just don't know what you're going to get. It's higher risk, but been doing it long enough, you're going to find some items in there that's going to be pretty good. Whereas the manifest, what you're getting. That's less risk, but you're paying more for manifested pallets than you are for non-manifested pallets. But if you're looking at get into it, I would look at buying lots of it before you jump into buying a pallet, to kind of at least get the understanding of items that you're going to be working with, and just learn. I mean, there's lots of unboxing videos with all different types of pallets that you can buy that's out there. I would look, kind of get an idea of what you might get. I would do lots of research on the liquidator that you're buying from. Talk to people who buy from them also. Make sure that they're not cherry picking pallets. They're not pulling the good items off the pallet before reselling. And those are just a few tips, to name a few.
Yeah. So, Joe, let's say hypothetically I have $1,000 in my name, and I wanted to go buy a pallet and flip it and resell it. Realistically, what kind of profit margins are we looking at? I'd say I have $1,000. I want to invest, and I want to buy a pallet. Let's say I want to buy a pallet of toys, like you guys got it at 888 lots the other day. Now, I took my $1,000, and by the time I paid for shipping, paid for the merchandise, I'm all in $1,000. What can I do realistically? Because I'm not saying, shoot the moon. Just hypothetically, what could I turn that $1,000 into if I invested it buying a lot? Like, realistically. Go ahead, Joe.
I think most people in liquidation, their goal is to always double your money after profit or after shipping and fees, whatever it is, double your money. That's always a good starting point. And for me, $1,000, if I spend 1,000, I can double my money and make $1,000 in 30 days. I'm going to feel pretty good about that. There's no business that you can invest in. There's no stock that you can buy that's going to bring you those types of margins. And about liquidation, it's all about putting your money to use and making your money work for you. So $1,000, I mean, obviously, if it could be, you could buy $1,000 pallet and it may not even make you $1,000. You may not even get $1,000 worth of stuff on there. And it's happened. Like, I think we've purchased hundreds of pallets, and there's probably only been maybe 6 times that we haven't made our money back on the pallet. But most of the time, we double, triple, quadruple, because you never know when you're going to get a $500 or $600 item in there. And it's like today we did an unboxing. We got a health and beauty lot, and there's some deodorant on there. It's a rare deodorant that's selling for 4 of them for $300. So it's you never know. Like, we've got one the other day we unboxed, and it's got like a $400 jacket on it. And there's one item, I forget what it was, but it was on the manifest for $15.99. But then we go to price comp it, and it's $300 item. So you just never know. But then you can get a lot of items that could be broken. Like, we've had several $1,000 items. There's a pallet that we got earlier this year that it was supposed to be shelf pull pallet, but it had a customer return in there. And there was a stainless steel commercial sink that was supposed to have been a $1,600 sink, but it had been used heavily. Right. So you never know.
Okay, Joe. Hey, I'm sorry we kept you over a little bit over the hour mark.
You're good.
So give people your final thoughts and tell everybody where they can find you on Instagram and YouTube. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm going to shout out Prison to Profit real quick, because I always appreciate your comments. On your video, on the videos that you watch for us, your comments are always well thought out. They're very you've actually been watching the video and comment. So I appreciate that. And so, yes, I think for us, last comments is don't be afraid to try. If you're wanting to try liquidation, don't, in you're transitioning from thrifting, garage selling, don't get hung up on the margins. Don't get hung up on the profit potential, because you never know. I know a lot of people who were thrifters back in May. They probably would have loved to be able to source by buying liquidation, because all of their thrift stores, garage sales were all shut down. So I'm not saying liquidation may be a primary sourcing strategy, but I believe it's one that you should have in your tool belt, so that during times where you can't do your actual sourcing method, you can use that sourcing strategy in your business so that you can continue on with your business, because you never know when you're going to be in situations. Maybe you slip and fall and you break your ankle and you can't walk around for a couple of months. But if you can do liquidation, that you can get online, you can buy a box, you can buy whatever. I wouldn't buy a pallet because you have to walk around, but you can buy smaller lots of stuff to get in, that you can have your workspace set up to where you never actually have to walk anywhere. So having those sourcing strategy tools in your tool belt, it's going to take a long way. And just look at the items that are going to bring you the biggest cash flow. You can find us. Our website, thefamilyflips.com. All of our social media is linked, and we go live every Friday or every Thursday night. And so, yeah. What's up, Pallet Jackin?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Prison to Profit for coming by. We had Mary stopping by, and we had Pallet Jackin. So thank you guys for stopping by. We're over the hour mark. I want to thank everybody in the chat for hanging out, and thank Joe for hanging out with me. We got a show tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Catch you later.
If you haven't voted yet, go do it. You got an hour left.